All right, so it is informal, so no need to be formal. But as far as the video goes, the introduction, my name is Rabbi David Katz, or David Katz. We're in the yeshiva that I teach in. So in some circles, I should be known as Rabbi David Katz here, but in the dieting world, I guess, I'm David Katz. So take your pick, whatever floats your boat. So that's my quick little introduction. I'm going to follow my notes, so when I look down, I'm looking at my notes because I definitely want to get in all the main points. I have about 15 or 16 points on my list, so I'll try to swiftly go through these points. And the first one is kind of like the beginning and it's wrapped up in the end. And again, my relationship with, what's your name again? How do we call you? We don't know? We haven't figured that out. Dr. Yaakov Starr will call him for this event. Some of us know him by other names, but whatever. So my relationship with Dr. Starr will, I'll just call it that for brevity, will be clarified throughout the talk. But what I will bring in is start off with a principle that I think, again, I don't want to call you Yaakov. I have a complex already.
No, that's good.
So there was a lot of principles and lessons on this journey. And again, I'm just jump starting in the middle. I don't expect you to know what that means yet, but hopefully by the end of this talk you will. One of the lessons that Yaakov has indirectly and directly taught me through this experience, and it's not so much that he taught me, it's that it became essential on the path of losing weight. And again, for those that don't know why we're here, for the sake of those who watch the recording that will eventually end up on YouTube, I guess the proper introduction would be, my name is David Katz, and I lost over 50 kilos in less than 6 months. And for those watching in the video, there will be an insert video or picture here of what I used to look like, and this is what I look like now. So for the before and the after, it would have been nice to have had a slideshow. I understand that, but we're a bit limited, so you have the flyer or imagination, whatever suits you. And again, that's why we're here. I'm talking about that experience and how it's possible, and Dr. Starr, our friend Yaakov, is going to teach his perspective, which is different than mine, not in terms of the approach, but just, he's looking at it like this, and I'm looking at it like this. And we came together for the sake of, I had neck pain in my late 30s. Again, I'm going to start bringing points in randomly as I can remember from my list. So we'll call that the third, on my list I had that the 38 to 40 years. Right, I'm 40 years old now. So by the time I'm going to be 38, I'm living in Modin and I'm suffering from neck pain. And Dr. Starr is a chiropractor. And so I need to address my neck pain. That's effectively where it started. No serious other medical alerts, although the doctors were a little bit frightened by my condition, where I was at, and I was showing signs, nothing that would be ultimately chronic, but I was going down the wrong path. I was in a bit of denial. And Yaakov, I wouldn't say used scare tactics to get to me. It was more like the problems you have with your neck can go away if you lose weight. Isn't that pretty much more or less?
That's how we started.
That's how it started. And there was a little bit of a struggle back and forth in between sessions. You would call that encouragement. I call it struggle. Why don't you go out and walk? And I'm saying, because I don't do that. Why don't you eat better? Because I don't do that. And eventually, those conversations became, I would even call them highly developed, but that's the end of the story. Now, you can already get a little bit of a sense of the journey, I imagine, right? We have this overweight patient who is getting neck treatments from his chiropractor friend, doctor, who is encouraging him to lose weight. Other people are scared from me or, nervous, concerned.
What was your top weight?
Top weight was probably approaching the 270 pounds, 280 pounds.
Kilo?
Kilos, about between 125 and 130. That's a good plug.
And you're down to...
And I'm down now to my goal weight, which was 73. And for kind of fun and my own little personal struggle, is to get down to 70 kilos, which I'll address that. Would you mind calling the kids down? Because
sure.
How many pounds? What's that?
Pounds you're down to how much?
Pounds I'm down to between a low weight of 155-ish, and I'm trying to walk around at 160, and I'm pretty much accomplishing that. Walking around at we can call that I'm walking at 160. So effectively, you're looking at a high end of 280 and a low end in the 150s. And I want to settle in the 150 zone. That's where I want to be. I would prefer not to see 160s anymore. But again, I could do it if I wanted to. I learned how to do it, and that's why we're here to talk about it. But I'm making it more of a practical journey in the end. Like, struggling with the last 3 kilos for the sake of the struggle. I don't want to commando it. I want to see what it's like to eat what I want in a nutritious, healthy way, and really feel the struggles. I didn't feel the struggle for the 6 months. I felt like boot camp for 6 months. And I don't think, it's not a common problem to say that you have 100 pounds to lose. So my caloric intake nowadays is hovering around 2,000-ish. And in my peak dieting, I was around between 1,100 to 1,300 a day. So let me tell you, that those extra 800 are like Gan Eden, Garden of Eden. It's really, you really feel the power of those 800 extra calories. And so again, if I wanted to remove those 800 calories, yeah, I could lose the 3 kilos. But I've made my goal of 73 kilos, and I want to experience the struggle now because I can. But again, that's the kind of the end of the talk. But the first principle that I want to talk about is, in Hebrew you call it bechira, and in English you call it free will, and in layman terms you call it decision making. And so that's one of Dr. Starr's favorite things. I don't know if he would frame it or phrase it the same way that I do, but it's the art of making constant, daily, better and good decisions. Because we, the people, are generally, my own little term, or I don't know if you use this term or not, but food stupid. We don't know label reading, calories, how they work. And again, I'm just going to start drawing from what I have in my notes. We get stuck in our danger zones where we don't know. And it's a laziness, it's an unpreparedness, it's a lack of educationness. And I'll give you a perfect example. Raise your hand, if you will, right? You've heard that popcorn is a great snack when you're dieting. You heard this? Anyone? People say, yeah, you can eat popcorn. Popcorn is a great snack. And it looks great, right? It's very light. It's a little airy bag. It can't possibly be wrong. And so, as my 2 kids can tell you, they like to eat their popcorn, and their grandmother buys popcorn. And I avoid it because, I'm at the point where if I haven't seen the label, I generally will not trust it. But I was hungry the other night, and I decided, maybe these popcorn pro people are correct, and I'll do it. So I did. I ate a bag of popcorn. And I had planned on going to the supermarket, because in my house they throw the boxes away before I can read the label. So I was in kind of a guessing mode. And here, a little principle for you, guessing mode usually goes wrong. And another little guessing mode, which happened this past Shabbos, I was hungry, and again, in commando mode, it's called, you can eat an apple. And I do. But I'm experimenting now that I made my goal, because I want to see, how it works. On Shabbat, you cannot, the Sabbath, you can't weigh. It's against the Sabbath to use weighing measurements. So if it wouldn't have been Shabbos, very easily I would have weighed the portion of my cereal. But on the Sabbath, you cannot weigh. So I guessed. Now, you can legitimize what I did because it was the Sabbath. What can you do? So I used it as an opportunity. On the Sabbath, you're supposed to eat a little bit better, in excess. Now, religious views, can be debated, but I went with it. And the bowl that I was using was 200 grams. And I was hoping it was 100 grams. And I've never eaten out of those bowls before, in terms of measurement. So I didn't know. And suffice it to say, I guessed wrong. So had it been 100 grams, the calculations would have been in my favor. I would have scored big. My caloric intake would have been on cue, and it would have been in a good day. But I had 2 bowls. So I ate double, like double. And it ended up being my caloric intake for that day was probably a third more than it should have been. It should have been around 2,000. It would end up being 3,000. I've never had a 3,000 day since I started. That's called guessing wrong. And you want to learn from your mistakes. And Mistakes are not to be feared or belittled or reprimanded. They happen. But you want to, when they happen, you got to learn from your mistakes. And as they say, I used to wrestle in high school. That's also part of the story. In wrestling, you're either winning or you're learning. Learning substituted for losing. We don't call it losing, you're learning. So when in the diet word, right? But in dieting nutrition, when you lose a battle, don't consider it a loss. It's a learning experience. And it's an opportunity to get stronger and learn. So for the popcorn little analogy, I went to the store this morning for my Sabbath shopping, and I remembered to check if there was a healthy popcorn. So I found the healthiest popcorn. And in the labels, if you don't know how to read a label, you're going to get in trouble. And most people are label reading illiterate. Because, number one, it's in Hebrew. This video is in Israel. So there's a bit of a learning curve for me, especially living in Israel. You have to get really proficient in label reading in Hebrew. Which for the longest time, I got protein and carbohydrates confused. Which isn't the worst thing in the world. Because you can recognize the numbers, but you have to be fluent in label reading. So there's a secret number that I find it to be essential in dieting. I know some people don't like the term, the D word, in dieting, but for lack of a better term, I will call it dieting. And in Hebrew, it's called nitron. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but sodium. Now, I'm not an expert in sodium. Our doctor friend here could probably say much more about it than I can. I just learned from my experiences that it's very easy to get an astronomical number of sodium. And the recommended number is like 1,500 milligrams a day. Now, I don't know how the numbers work. I just know that I try to be under 1,500 a day, because that's what they say, they. And I trust they. Because I know if they are saying be 1,500, and they are correct in all their other numbers, meaning, and here's another principle I learned along the way. And this is a massive principle. In my aha moment, that you call my aha moment, which was prolonged over about a week, I found out through extensive Googling and talking to, again, we're oscillating between Yaakov and Dr. Starr, right? So, in my learning experience, which I would say it came down in the end of June of this year, it turns out if you lose 3,500 calories from your diet, scientifically, you just lost a pound. So in Torah, you call that concept lefi pshuto. It's like a conceptual truth. Now, why is it conceptual and not actual? Because as the Talmudist that I am, and we're sitting in the place that I teach Talmud, I'm saying like this. Let's take it to the radical extreme. Keep it in your mind, and you know, people ask how I lost the weight, and I view it from a Talmudic perspective, from an analytical perspective. So here's your first take on analytics. Ready? On one part of your brain, you just dropped 3,500 kilos. Everyone say yeah. Say yeah. You just, or kilos, sorry, calories. You just dropped 35, I don't care how, just say you did it. You did it? Good? Good. So what did you drop it from? So let's drop it from 8,000 calories. You ate 8,000 calories today. Pizza, everything. So by the numbers game, you can eat 8,000 calories, but you dropped 3,500 of them. You just lost a pound. You feel better? Lighter? See ya? Good. But it's a ridiculous analogy. Because there's a problem. Yes, you can lose a pound when you cut out 3,500 calories. And this is where you and I discuss a lot of our debates, not debates back and forth, but at the dieting world. They leave out key information. And it's misleading. And just now, I was guilty of that with you. I misled you. I convinced you in some way that you can lose. It is true. Let's throw me a bone and play along. It is true. You lose 3,500 calories from your diet, you lost a pound. That is true. But is it true that you can eat 8,000 calories a day and lose that pound? No. No. All you did was you shaved off 3,500 calories. You're still at whatever the math is. What is the math? I can't do it standing up without my microphone. You do the math.
4,500.
So you just ate 4,500 calories. Did you lose a pound? No, you probably gained a pound, at least. So that's what they don't tell you in the articles. So that's where you have to use your analytical brain and pick up the story.
So what you did is you gained a pound less.
Well, what I did was I figured out that the numbers work if you make them work, and you figure out how they work. So if we agree, and when you do a little bit of research, you'll see the 3,500 is a real number. But your 8,000 is a ridiculous number. So you must move that 8,000 to a more normal number. Now the secret is, how do you find your number? And I didn't have to find my number. This is where our friend Dr. Starr comes into the equation yet again. And in his passing comments to me, it was recommended that I use the app Lose It. Everyone can go on your Play Store for your Google Android users. We don't, even though Apple Day keeps a doctor away, we're Android Pro here. But it is also available on Apple. And you can get, we recommend, I think Lose It app. Now, why do I say use the app in terms of where I'm going with my 3,500 calorie little dialogue? Because in the app, it's very easy to sign up, and you put in your stats, and the point of the app is to track your food intake. And once you're tracking food intake, that's like a massive, massive gold mine. Because part of being food stupid is you are unaware of the numbers behind your food. How much food weighs, i.e., how much are you overeating? How much calorically dense foods are you eating that you aren't aware of? And once you visualize through the app, now it's very, very easy to stop your mishigas. In Yiddish, that means your craziness. Because when you see that your favorite popcorn, and you enter it in, and you have the label, and you have to put in the stats, now your favorite popcorn has had, per 100 grams, 800 sodium. So now, how many foods are you eating with at least 500 to 1,000 of sodium? Let's say you had a bagels and lox and cream cheese sandwich for lunch, with a bag of Frito-Lay potato chips, Fanta, popcorn for dinner. You had your pasta, the popcorn was snack after dinner. You had your pasta for dinner, and you had French toast for breakfast with maple syrup. And 3 glasses of OJ. And for a snack, give me a snack. What do you want? Doritos? Right.
Put something healthy in
Well, but a lot of people would do such a thing. I was doing that, and I didn't know any of that. So already, now that I see it differently, the sodium is, we can't even count how high the sodium is right now. You can't count that. So if you're going to look at dieting, I like to look at sodium as a focal point, because it is very, very, Dr. Starr will focus on whole foods. And I like to focus on sodium, because if you're getting more than your 1,500 a day of sodium, you're doing something wrong. Whole foods doesn't get you a sodium level that high. It's impossible. You're going to talk about you can eat as much as you want on whole foods. I'm going to say a little bit of it from a negative point of view. If you're over sodiuming, you're doing something wrong. It's got to be wrong. And the numbers always equate. So again, when I went to the store and I saw the popcorn, every number was off. So your popcorn theory, it's good for you, it's light, it's easy. Is that true? No, the calories were high, the sodium was high. Completely illogical snack food. There's no benefit along those lines of eating popcorn. So now, in the app, Lose It, it's going to tell you your recommended daily caloric intake, and you focus on your goal, and your calories just went from 8,000, which is ridiculous, no one's going to do that, But the goal is to find your sweet spot of the calories, which my goal, by Lose It put me, when I was at 125 kilos, it had me at 1,800 calories a day. And I was eating very, very comfortably. I didn't even feel it. Dinner was full, and the only thing that I had to really learn, which was a totally massive part of the success, was what I learned and when I learned it. When I learned it was this summer. Now, can you tell me, from what you know about Israel, how summer differs from winter in terms of healthy eating? Anyone have an idea? Huh? Well, you're close. You left off the word melon. Melon season is in season. And melon season is like God's gift to dieting. So I thank God every day that my diet started in June, July. Because you can have a ton of watermelon, and your caloric intake is like 100 calories. And so couple that with Dr. Starr's suggestion that I start doing shakes, milkshakes, fruit shakes, smoothies. And I was a big fan of doing chocolate milkshakes in my blender. So I had a blender for years that never got used. And he would, as he was working on my neck, he would say, you have this nice blender. That would be a great tool for making shakes. So since it was melon season, it was, boom, right away, I now had a milkshake, smoothie every day for lunch. And so with the app, it was very easy to transition to my diet. Because I was eating a jug of shake every day with cantaloupe, watermelon, and other low-cal fruits, and I was stuffed. And Lose It is telling me it's only 500 calories what I'm doing. I'm saying that's a bargain, because for morning I'm having my coffee, which was under 100. I'm eating a jug of lunch. I'm stuffed. It's delicious. I want more, but I physically can't eat that much. So I'm winning here. I am absolutely winning. And then for dinner, I'm having a massive dinner. I'm saying this dieting is for me. I'm eating more now than I did when I was not dieting. Because even though you may eat the whole pizza, as you will say, you still kind of want more. I didn't want more after dinner and lunch, and I was full. So that went, that style, until basically as you lose weight on the app, your calories go down. And as Dr. Starr will tell you, your first move in losing weight is you're first filled with a bunch of junk. I mean, the beginning of it's not hard. You're just filled with, I don't know what it is, water, it's junk weight, it comes off. I don't even remember losing the first 15 kilos. I saw on Ellen talk show, a guy weighed, I think, 500, and he's down to like whatever. And he said in the first, month or whatever, he lost like 100 pounds. So it comes off quick. Once you're committed and you understand it, it pours off. So your calories go very quickly from 1,800, in my case, and it was down to about 1,400, 1,500 very quickly. Now you got to reassess and revalue your lifestyle. And that's where I last left you on our bunny trail, called decision making, comes in. Now you're making crucial decisions. And it becomes life-making decisions. Because to get every number in, remember we said that numbers are divine. Numbers always work. Whether it's in hours of the day, your timing, your scheduling, portion control, you start to learn the synchronicity of numbers. And until you are put in a numeric framework or a budget framework, numbers don't add up and they don't matter. You know what time you can eat dinner when you're not budgeting your time and your energy and your money and your food? You can eat whenever you want, however you want, without consequence. My time of dinner was generally 3 in the morning and a large pizza. I work American hours, so we have pizza left over or frozen and pull it out, microwave. I had no framework of time and numbers because I work American hours and no food consciousness whatsoever. My weight was just, a distant memory of something that used to matter, and it was like being off. So to come back on a trail of responsibility is really what this is about. And when you have a weight to lose, whether it's medically or weight-wise, you got to recalibrate numerically first and foremost, because that's generally, at least in my case, that's where I was off. Maybe you're off somewhere else, but something's off. Something's got to be off. And diagnosing it, I'm guessing, probably isn't very hard to do once you start listening to the advice of the world coming back at you. In my case, I'm guessing it probably wasn't too hard for you. All right, seeing the size that I was at, probably wasn't too hard to guess what the problem was. So, in overtly obvious cases, it's a, and again, I think what you're saying, it's a simple fix once you get the person to see the light. And once you see that light, again, in my case, what was the beginning? I think, I don't even really remember. I'll tell you where, in my mind, where it began. My work is very stressful, not in this building, my other work I teach online. And I wanted an escape where I could get out of my body, which I was envisioning it as a jacuzzi and a sauna. I just had this vision. I want to get out of the house and kind of like, in a sauna and just doze off. So there's a gym down the street called Holmes Place, and I got the nerve to call, and this guy is egging me on to, walk, and those are not options at this time. And diet is certainly not, and he's saying, diet is like 80% of it. I'm like, no, it's not. We're going to lose all that at the gym, in my sauna, and it didn't make sense. I wasn't adding up, and I don't even know if I was trying to lie to myself. I just wanted him off my back. All right, just fix my neck, crack some bones and make it go away, while I have my jacuzzi sauna treatment that I'm self-prescribing. So I call the gym, and they have these things, and it was May of this year, and so I planned a trip for my work, and the day that I get home, I join the gym, but during my time in America, I somehow got the idea that I was going to actually use the gym. I wasn't going to just go and zone out in the sauna hot tub. I was going to actually use the gym. I don't remember how it happened on the trip, but it did. So I bought, on the last stop in Texas, I bought gym gear. 3 or 4 XL shirts, 3 or 4 XL shorts, my first gym bag since high school, and a couple of other little trinkets. And signed up at the gym. This was in June of this year. And I did go to the gym, but I wasn't dieting. And I still wasn't serious, and I worked out a little bit. I think I tried the whirlpool, and I was just feeling it out. And that's when I don't even know how the diet thing really clicked. I honestly don't know. I know your influence was there, but I don't know how it got through. I really think it was that 3,500. I remember laying down and reflecting on where I've come from, where I've been, where I want to go. Somehow I found this 3,500. It was a gift from God. When I saw that there is a methodology and a framework and a formula called 3,500 calories in a deficit, you lose a pound. From there, we moved to 8,000. From there, we moved to you're being ridiculous. Then you have the gym gear, and you have the membership. And now, what Yaakov will teach is, and I found this out very quickly, Lose It tracks your exercise movements if you enter it. So I found out at the beginning of my dieting and gymming that guess how many calories you lose on a good day? Now, even if you're working hard, maximum. You're really pumping hard. I'm going to lie to you and flatter you. It's not going to happen. But again, I'll even really flatter you. This is not true. But let's say you lost 1,000 calories at the gym. That's the most flattering I'm going to give you. So if you're eating on your diet 2,000 calories, now you can hope to lose 1,000 of it at the gym. But that's a fantasy. On a good day, you'll lose 700. On a decent day, you can lose 500. On a lazy day, 200. So guess what your gymming is? You're not burning off your daily intake of the gym. Get that out of your head. What gym is another discussion. On one foot, what it is you're toning your body, and you're making your body into a fat-burning machine that can't exist without the diet to go along. So yeah, 90% of it is the diet. Because if you're going to be on your 8,000 calorie a day diet, you can gym all you want. And that 1,000 number, if you're eating 8,000 a day, isn't going to happen anyways. And if you're in great shape, it's still not going to happen. So the gym is not how you lose weight. The gym is how you help your body aid in the decision making that your brain is doing, called eating right and living right, lifestyle right, which goes back to our beginning of the micro decision making, which the Lose It app helps you get context by seeing the visuals. So when you make your mistake, and another principle that I live by is don't cheat, don't lie, don't withhold information. When you ate something wrong, don't say that, oh, but that doesn't count, or do-over, or you lied about the amount. You're just fooling yourself and delaying the inevitable. Because you're staring at reality. When you put a heaping teaspoon of sugar in your coffee, you know how much is really in there. Who are you really lying to? When you skim it and you say, I'm going to cheat and go less, well, what does that accomplish? Right? Torturing yourself won't work either. So just be true. Put in a teaspoon, because it calls for a teaspoon, what you're doing. You want to put 3 teaspoons in your coffee, then put in 3 actual teaspoons. The quicker you gain a grasp of reality, the quicker you get results. Because you know exactly where you're at. You're not lying to yourself by being skimpy. You're not lying by being overboard. You're being truthful. And then the numbers will have to add up. And they will add up. But then you start making better choices. So when you have 5 teaspoons, is that a good choice? You'll see very quickly it's not. White bread versus brown bread. That was something that I struggled with. When I went to eat my Shabbos bread, I wanted white bread. And I was right. Because I went to the health store. I guess I'll close soon. I went to the health store, and I saw that white bread had less calories than brown bread. So obviously white bread is superior to brown bread, and health fanatics are crazy. When you get deep into this game, you realize white bread is the same thing as a candy bar. There's no nutritional value, and you're like, but it tastes better. Well, yeah, it's a Kit Kat. So making your sandwich on white bread is like a Kit Kat. Brown bread, number one, it does amazing things for you, more than the white bread, if you choose to eat bread. And choosing or not to choose to eat bread is already a choice. I understand that. But if you're going to eat it, you got to make the better choice. And then you find out that once you break your addictions, I actually prefer to the brown bread now anyways. I wouldn't even go back to the white bread. So it's a constant improvement of life improvement and making better choices. And I would say more or less I covered all my points in a random order. We'll do Q&A afterwards if anybody has Q&A.